Good morning. My name is Waldo, and you found me. I've been here, streaming on Kick, streaming on Twitch, reading the news. Where's Waldo? There he is. That's that's funny, KBP. I get it. That's a joke. It's almost like Dora, isn't it? You can talk to your screen, and I'll talk back. Anyway, um, I got some news, some politics. That's how it works. It's when you quit looking that you find the thing you were looking for. That's a motto I live my life by. Is that I rarely look for things. I give about 30 seconds to look for the thing that I'm looking for. After that, I'm like, meh, it'll turn up, and then I give up. And then guess what? It turns up every time. So, today, what are we going to do? It's Saturday, so we're going to do like a full politics stream. I've got a whole bunch of links. I'll go over, look at all of them, talk about all of them, rant about a few of them, and then we'll probably keep reading down the horror book that we're reading, The Republicanomicon. It is a very frightening fantasy book, and we'll keep going down it. Last one was a little boring, but I got a video out of it anyway, and hopefully somebody will watch it. Uh, Maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe not. If not, I'll have a weird diary that I can look back on later. Anywho, um, if you are watching and paying attention, throw anything you want up into the chat, and then uh, include links, and I will take a look at any of the news, any of the things, and I'll give you an opinion or an idea or a thought. And if I don't have an opinion, I'll make one up. If I don't know what it's about, I'll just invent some things. And as KVP has just showed you, you can play slot machine games. Silly slot machines. KVP just lost 50 points. What a loser. Insult him in chat. Call him a loser. Make fun of him for losing. See? It's fun. But if you call him a loser, you do have to call him a winner when he does win. That's the game. That's how it works. We congratulate you when you win, and we insult you when you lose. I've got a lot of sunlight coming in right here, don't I? I'm gonna go close that curtain kind of thing, maybe. Are you looking at my bum? Cheeky bum look at you. Alright, I don't think that helped. Did that help? No, it did not. That is just pure sunlight bouncing off the walls. I'll try and cover it with my big fat head. How about that? Okay, anyway, yeah. I'm supposed to like read the news and feel the news with you. Let's do that. All right. So if you are watching and you have any news you want me to cover, bam, put it in the chat. Any links. Uh, let's go over here and get the window capture started, and we're going to capture this. Oh my God. You guys, this is serious. This is serious, you guys. Oh my God. It's Jover. It's Jover. Merrick Garland named a special counsel in Hunter Biden investigation. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. I demand that we impeach Hunter Biden right now. They did it. They finally did it. That's right. It's over. We have to impeach Hunter Biden immediately. Let's read about this. David Weiss, who's been investigating criminal activity uh, against President Biden's surviving son, Hunter Biden, has been named special counsel. He's been investigating Hunter Biden for the past, like, 5 years or something. Attorney General Merrick Garland said Friday. Weiss made the request to be special counsel to Garland on Tuesday of this week. Yes. Weiss, a Trump appointee. Remember that. That's gonna factor in later. As U.S. Attorney who was retained during the Biden administration, has been investigating Hunter Biden since 2019, so about 4 years. Donald Trump, while president, didn't like Joe Biden. Shocker. I'm sure you've heard about this. Complained about him a lot. We turned the friggin' frogs gay. Thanks for following. What's your beef? I appreciate it. Every little thing counts. So, Donald Trump appoints Weiss to investigate Hunter Biden because Hunter Biden is kind of a criminal. He's a crony capitalist at worst. I don't know if he's pushed over into criminal territory. So Weiss has been investigating, given all the stuff like that, and he's finally become special. Good call, KBP. I apologize. You're right. It's a big thing. What's your beef? 2335. You are a big thing, and a big important to me. Not a small thing. uh, anyway, what are we talking about? You're getting me off topic. Weiss, who was investigating back in 2019, Joe Biden actually did become the president. Divisive statement, I know. I'm very brave to say so. Then Biden had the chance to just fire him. He could have, if he were crooked, if Joe Biden were crooked, he could have said, hey, Weiss, good job, you fired. You done. Get out. We don't need your services. Go. But Joe Biden, being not an absolute brain dead moron, knew that that would look crooked. If you take over and then fire all the people who are investigating you, you look like a criminal. So he didn't do that. So Weiss, who was a Trump appointee and was, I think it says, kept on, I think is the way that they put it here, was retained, which means they didn't fire him. So he was retained because that would be crooked if he got fired by Joe Biden while investigating Joe Biden. They kept him around so that it would be correct. So that's important too. I think Joe Biden did the right thing there. Conduct the ongoing investigation described above, as well as any matters that arose from the investigation or may arise. So they're going to determine, and they're going to do an investigation. Now, who thinks that the Republicans are excited about this? Well, you're wrong. They hate it. House GOP blasts appointment of Hunter Biden special counsel. They're mad that the person they've been calling a criminal for 4 or 5 years is going to be investigated by the DOJ. They don't want that. No, sir. They do not want facts getting in the way of their angry feelings about Hunter Biden. Top House Republicans are accusing the Biden administration of attempting to stymie their investigation into Hunter Biden. You're going to the very brain dead, stupid Republicans are very angry that the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the people who are in charge of investigating crimes, are going to investigate Hunter Biden because it will get in the way of their investigation, which is not based on facts. It's just based on feelings and mean things that we can say about him in the press. Speaker Kevin McCarthy raised doubts about whether special counsel David Weiss could be trusted. He was appointed by Donald Trump to do exactly this job, and pledged in a statement that House Republicans would continue their investigations into the president's family. Their investigations should have quotation marks around them. They really should. Their investigations are just talking shit and getting and paying witnesses to say the things that they want them to say. The literal, real, actual, fact-finding mission is what the House GOP doesn't want. Kevin McCarthy doesn't want facts and logic to be presented. He does not want investigations that find facts. That ruins his whole game of just talking shit. Kevin McCarthy is a professional shit talker who doesn't want facts to get in the way. Let's see, then we've got this great, super cool tweet from the Donald. We've got David Weiss was picked by the two Democrat senators from Delaware under blue slip. He would not have been picked by me. He would not have been picked by me. 2017, president to nominate David Weiss for U.S. Attorney in Delaware. He was literally picked by you, Donald. He was literally picked by you. Anti-reality. You know? Anti-reality. I don't love Joe Biden or the Democrats. Honestly. They're mediocre at best. But these are my choices, right? We live in a first past the post system. 51% of the vote means you're the winner of 100%. Not happy about that, but that's the way the system is built. I would like the system to be built differently, but in the system that we have, Democrats are the mediocre, middle of the road, boring people. They promise big things during the primaries. Oh, we're going to get UBI. We're going to do this for taxes. We're going to cut the taxes. We're going to do for make the voting better. We're going to get Medicare for all. We're going to increase these things. We're going to increase these things. We're going to do all this stuff. Then when they do get elected, they do maybe nothing. That's not a choice I'm happy to make, but it's a choice I have to make because who's running against them? Lunatics who do not accept reality. Those are my choices. Mediocre Democrats or Republicans who will make up anything they want. They will say whatever they want, and it doesn't matter if it's based on facts. It only matters if it's based on the feelings they have and the feelings of the people who are following them. There is a those are your choices in America. Mediocre Dems who aren't really going to give you what you want, or Republicans who are going to say whatever they feel, absent reality. It's not a great system we have, but it's the way it is. Do I love the idea of Hunter Biden using his last name to make money? No. It's corrupt. It's crony capitalism, but it's a capitalist flaw. It's a flaw within capitalism, not some giant uh, crime that Joe Biden has committed. If he's involved, great. Let's have the DOJ investigate. Let's figure it out. Let's find out what actually happened. And if there are any crimes, then we charge him for crimes. That's what the DOJ is supposed to do. Not this forever uh, continuing investigation that McCarthy is doing, where you're not actually finding anything out. You just shit talk all day long. Shit talk, shit talk, shit talk all day long. Nothing else. They don't want anything else. They don't want actual justice. They don't want actual investigation. They don't want facts to get in the way of their shit talking, which is why they're upset about it. think I read something else about that. Did I find something else about it? I didn't. All right. So, um, that's the Hunter Biden scandal update. Uh, is he crooked? Yes, but within the capitalist system that we're forced to live under. Uh, he's a crony capitalist at worst. Well, at best, he's a crony capitalist. At worst, he is involving Joe Biden in getting that money. But there is no evidence of that right now. The DOJ is going to find that evidence. And if there isn't any, you know what's going to happen? McCarthy's just going to say, "Oh, well, this proves if if the DOJ finds evidence that Joe Biden was involved, McCarthy's going to say that proves that Joe Biden is crooked. If the DOJ doesn't find evidence and they find zero, they find nothing, Kevin McCarthy then says, "Oh, that's the proof that he's crooked." When you find evidence, that proves the crime. When you don't find evidence, that proves the crime. Because it proves that Joe Biden is crooked and owns the DOJ and tells them what to do all the time. And then he gets to choose his special counsels, and then they hide all the evidence. McCarthy will make up whatever fantasy he wants to get the outcome he desires. He will make up whatever lies to get the answer he wants. If he wants Hunter Biden to be a criminal, he will invent evidence. He will take the evidence and point to it and say, "Here's the evidence." If there isn't any evidence, he will use that as the evidence that the evidence has been hidden from him. They will just make up whatever they want, whenever they want, to whatever end they want. And it irritates me because they're half the country votes for them. Half the country loves that. Half the country loves it. They love making up horseshit to make themselves feel better. Can't run a country that way. Things are about to fall apart. They've already begun to fall apart. They're unraveling it, but maybe. Um, we'll get to that in a minute. What is this? Let's see. Changing gears slightly. Is Trump daring a judge to jail him? The impossible task of containing Donald Trump. So, yeah, I think Trump is going to end up in jail for breaking the stipulations that the court has put on him. When Donald Trump appeared last week in the Washington, D.C. courtroom for his arraignment on federal election charges, the presiding judge gave the former president a few simple instructions for staying out of jail while he awaited trial. Staying out of jail. Trump could not talk to potential witnesses about the case except through lawyers, Magistrate Judge Moxilla told him, and he could not commit a crime on the local, state, or federal level. That's going to be hard for him. He does this a lot. He's got like 3 indictments, one more upcoming, and uh, his life has been spent in front of in court. Like he will commit some crimes. Both are standard directives to defendants. Standard, normal for everybody. There are not two systems here. But then the judge added a warning that seemed tailored a bit more specifically for the blustery politician standing before her. I want to remind you, it is a crime to intimidate witnesses or retaliate against anyone for providing information about your case to the prosecution or otherwise obstruct justice. He is going to do this on his social media, on his truth in quotation marks, social media platform. It is a crime to intimidate a witness. He is going to do that. He is going to insult them. He is going to call them names. He is going to say that they're liars. He's going to say 1,000 horrible, mean, terrible things about them. That will be considered intimidation. The judge will then bring him into court again, or his lawyers, and say, "This is intimidation. Stop doing it." Then, if we didn't have a two-tiered system, a regular person would go to jail for these things. But he doesn't because he's special. There is a two-tiered system, and he's on top of it. Then he might do it like a second time in a roundabout way. He's going to push the boundaries as far as he can, and then they might actually put him in jail. Does he want to be in jail? That is a different question. Uh, I think he does want to go to jail because he wants the he wants to be famous. He wants to be headline news. Him going to jail for tweeting something will absolutely fuel the bullshit narrative. Again, Republicans just make things up. Uh, that he's being jailed for his free speech. His lawyers, his defenders, all his fans will go onto social media, will go onto the news shows, will go onto the TV and say Donald Trump is being prosecuted and persecuted for his free speech. He said threats or intimidated witnesses, and they're going to accept that and be like, well, you're free speech, free speech, free speech, free speech. He's allowed to say these things. He's Donald Trump. He's allowed to say it. He's free speech, and it won't matter what the reality is, what the truth is. It won't matter that he's being tried for actions he took. They will say that it's for his free speech because again, they make things up and have no basis for in reality. What do you guys think? Do you think Donald wants to go to jail? I think he wants to be there. Will it make him more powerful? I think it will. More powerful? No. I think it'll make his fans like him more. I think he wants to be there for like an hour or less, and then get out, and then scream about the way he was treated, so that his fans, the martyrs that they are, the basket of deplorables, will absolutely love him even more. They'll be more devoted to him. Putting Donald Trump in jail puts all of them in jail. You know what I mean? Yeah, he wants the publicity, but not to actually be there. Or to be there for very long. Just long enough to get the publicity, I think, yeah. But don't worry, Matt Gaetz has a plan. Matt Gaetz, child groomer, has a plan for blocking Jack Smith's indictments of Trump. Gaetz believes, again, belief is the most important thing to the GOP. Gaetz believes a select committee should be established to grant Trump immunity from prosecution for his crimes. I don't know what law this is based on. He's just making stuff up. A select committee. Let's keep reading. Congressman Matt Gaetz, child groomer, an ardent loyalist to Donald Trump, has suggested a plan to disrupt the dual investigations of the former president led by the DOJ, Special Counsel Jack Smith. Unfortunately for Gaetz, however, the plan requires Trump to refrain from lying during his testimony before a House panel in Congress. That'll be hard. Gaetz has presented a number of strategies for how he and other Trump allies could protect the former president as he faces dozens of federal indictment charges. Last week, for example, he suggested Republicans subpoena Smith to appear before the House Judicial Committee. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Just demand Jack Smith show up and tell us all his plans. That's pretty good. We're going to go to war. We demand the enemy general show up and tell us everything he's going to do. Okay, well, I mean that's a plan, I suppose. Noting that if Smith refused to do so, he could be held in criminal contempt of Congress. Last month, he suggested that Congress vote to defund the special counsel office, limiting additional actions that Smith could take against the former president. Okay. Gaetz explained his latest plan this week while discussing Trump's most recent indictments relating to the attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The right-wing radio host Charlie Kirk, in order to end the investigation and other federal charges from the Mar-a-Lago documents case or any future charges, so all of them, the House representative would have to grant Trump whistleblower protection. Oh, see, there you go. He just becomes a whistleblower. We'll just bend the definition of whistleblower so far that it screams. There's the definition, and we have just bent it to mean whatever the hell we want. It's very conservative of him to take a word that we comprehend and know and then just break the definition entirely. Afterward, you can actually bring President Trump in to give testimony to the Congress, and in doing so, immunize him. He's What's he going to blow the whistle on himself? Gaetz, uh, child trafficker that he is, noted that House rules require a committee to have a supermajority vote in order to grant someone full immunity. But he had a plan for that as well. Speaker McCarthy could set up a select committee tomorrow, adding that if the committee was made up of mostly Republican lawmakers, they could achieve a supermajority vote. There you go. We'll just bring on all our team and then make the rules that benefit our team. This is brilliant. This is democracy. This is how proper government works. Here's Matt Gaetz on Charlie Kirk Show scheming about ways House Republicans might be able to immunize President Trump and get him off the hook for federal charges. Okay, let's not listen to Matt Gaetz, the child groomer. The plan, as explained by Gaetz, would require the House to establish a select committee, hold a vote. Gaetz, the child groomer, admitted that the scheme would require Trump to actually testify before the theoretical select committee, and that new problems could arise from him doing so, as Trump well-documented liar perjuring himself. Well-documented liar perjuring himself. Brilliant. The downside of bringing anyone before Congress to give testimony is that if you say something that is material and that is not accurate, that can create a cascade of follow-on charges. So it's never something you typically think of as a first step. Oh, he'll just fill it with Republicans and they'll just ask him nonsense questions. Like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Can you name two of your children? Do you, Mr. Trump, really love America? And then he'll say yes. And they'll be like, see, he does. He loves America. Said so right here on congressional record. I guess we can just drop those whole overthrowing the country charges. We can just throw that out. He said he loves America. It's right here on congressional record. Throw it out. Abandon it. Get it out. Matt Gaetz, child trafficker, comes up with crazy schemes because he is a bad guy. I mean, he's literally the bad guy in a movie. This makes me think that we live in a fictional universe. Okay. Um, the GOP is done with democracy, again, obviously. Uh, the party has one principle left: power is only legitimate when it's wielded by Republicans. So that kind of feeds in from the last story. They want to make a committee that's filled with their team and make up the rules that benefit their team. They want to do this everywhere. Yeah, so this kind of stemmed from the abortion thing that happened in Ohio the other day. Uh, so in Ohio, Democrats took they've got like 59% of the seats or something like that because the people don't like Republicans. Obviously, they're terrible people. Why would you ever vote for one? So the Dems have like 59%. The Republicans then changed the rules from 50%, 51% passing to 60% passing a bill. So they moved the goalpost, literally. The Dems got to the goal, and then they moved the goalpost. Like literally, that's what they did. And then they threw out an August vote to amend the state constitution to go from 50 plus 1 to 60. And the people of Ohio didn't like that, so they voted against it. It's a big win for them, for decency and the good guys. Or the mediocre guys, I suppose I should say. Ohio Republicans tried to brazenly rig the November's abortion vote that led North Carolina Republicans, tired of sharing power in their evenly divided state, to sue all the way to the Supreme Court to block Democrats from having any say in congressional maps. They don't want these people The Republicans don't want the Dems to even be involved. It's not a your side versus our side, and then we come to some agreement. It's our way or the highway. And it's only going to get worse until we abandon the Republican Party, until the Republicans are gone, or they start acting decent and jump back into reality. This is only going to get more worse and more complicated. So I haven't watched this video yet. They're going to shoot someone. Michigan Republicans warn of a civil war at pool party. Fundraiser for fake electors. So there were these fake electors. They're all going to trial now. So they need a fundraiser. And at that fundraiser, the people involved warn of a civil war. Super fun. This is kind of, again, what I was talking about before. Republican people live on a different planet. They have beliefs. They have sincerely held delusions. And if you wrestle with those delusions, if you challenge their delusions, you are going to be met with violence. If you challenge a Republican's sincerely held delusions, they might kill you. They might shoot you. They might discuss the prospect of a civil war. And in that war, they would fight for their delusions. So let's listen to this audio obtained by the messenger, highlights just how dire the Republican charge in 2020 election scheme and the people around them see their fight. All right, let's see. Turn on the audio. Please let me know how the audio sounds.
So I've had lots of great conversations tonight with all of you, and we love you all, and thank you for being here tonight and supporting us. It's been difficult for Michonne and I, and I talked to Wes, and I said, Wes, if the government continues to weaponize these departments against conservatives and the citizens that are and the taxpayers, what's going to happen to this country? Does anyone have any idea if this doesn't stop?
They're going to take your building away from you and tear it down without your permission.
No, what's going to happen? No, what's going to happen before that? Yeah, the goal is communism, right, or Marxism. The Democrats.
I wish the Democrats were Marxist. I really, really, really do. I wish that were the goal. It's not.
Dream, right? But what's going to happen before that? Someone's going to get so pissed off they're going to shoot someone. That's what's going to happen. Or we're going to have a civil war or some sort of revolution. That's where this is going. And when that happens, we're going to get squashed. The people here are going to be the first ones to go.
And where's Michonne at? Okay. Oh, come on in. Come on in. You're ready for your close-up, Michonne. You're being honored for being an elector. So give her a round of applause.
A fake elector. An illegal elector. A delusional elector based on lies. Why are you cheering for anti-reality? It's because you live in a delusional state constantly.
Michonne rules. All right. Thank you, Michonne.
Other electors here, but I didn't want to out them. They're just among the crowd, and I didn't know if they wanted to say anything. But it's really better for none of us to say anything, which is hard because I like to say shit.
We do have one
She likes to
elector who
talk
would
shit.
like to say
Yeah.
something today. So Amy Fascinello, come on up and say a few words.
I'm just going to keep it short, and I just want to let you know that it's very heartwarming to see so many people here tonight supporting us. It's been very difficult, as you can imagine, so I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight.
They're dismantling the Trump campaign, one person at a time. Michonne's the person in Michigan. She's a target. Number two.
Michonne, you are a target because you committed a crime. You have harmed the United States of America. Michonne, you have harmed it by being willing to go along with a fake elector scheme. You are harming the country. That is why you're being targeted by the Department of Justice. You have done a harm to the country, and justice must be served. That is why they're coming after you. That is why they're coming after the people within the Trump campaign. They are criminals.
They're going to cheat again. You guys know that, right?
Oh, they're going to
never
cheat.
Stop cheating. And who agrees with me that they did cheat their ass off? Okay? And what they're doing here, the things that the electors did were things that have been done before. Okay?
No.
That's all I'm going to say. And they're trying to take away our right to appeal an election or to question election. Okay?
The election was questioned properly in court, and it's shot down. Exactly right, Shinsinto. How dare the legal justice system target me for breaking the laws? I'm not a Democrat or a brown person. Republicans think that the law has two groups. The in-group, where the law protects you, and the out-group, where the law binds you. So those Democrats and brown people are in the out-group, and that's who the law needs to target and harm and slow down and prevent them from doing things. But the law is supposed to protect the in-group of white Republicans. Protect us. Slow them down, harm them. That is how they think the law works. That's how they think the Constitution is written. That's why they talk about the Constitution all the time, even though they've never read it and don't know what it says.
They want to make damn sure that anyone who questions the election or disputes the election in 2024 is threatened by what they're doing to our electors and other people throughout this nation, that you will not say anything. You are going to shut the F up, and you are going to walk into that gas chamber. That's what they want, okay? Because that's what's coming for us.
And conquer first, though. Yeah. And so what we're going to do, speaking of dividing and conquering, my goal is to get a resolution up to impeach Dana Nessel. She has obviously committed corruption with this corrupt prosecution. The law is there. Now we need to get the Republicans on paper to sign the resolution to impeach Dana Nessel. We're 56-54, guys, but we have two state reps running for mayor. Westland and...
Against her?
Yes.
Not against me. Not against me.
Oh, okay.
Westland and Warren, Weiss and Coleman.
Oh.
And both of them have a good chance. I don't want to handicap it for him.
Coleman wants my vote. Let's just say that.
So we want you to vote for him. And anyway, so if both of those go, for 6 months we're 54-54. And we have recalls that are going on in our state. If a few of these Democrats are recalled, it's even less than that. So don't lose heart. Don't think that all is lost. We're very close in the House of Representatives. We do have some work to do with trying to buck up some Republicans and trying to inject backbones up into them. But Matt and I will work on that if you just keep supporting us and keep praying for us and keep spreading the word and don't buy into the narrative.
Don't buy into the narrative. Don't buy into the narrative, aka reality. Don't listen to reality. Don't listen to the people who are telling you the truth and using facts and logic and math and numbers. Don't listen to them. No. Listen to me. I'm the one you need to listen to. The sincerely held delusion. Keep it up no matter what. Continue being delusional all day long, every day. Do not let them hammer your delusion with facts and reality. That's what we're up against. That's what we have to pay attention to. That's why I like the politics, because it's interesting. Thing that pisses me off, they're gaslighting people into thinking about questioning the election. Right. If you believe that Donald Trump won, that's more important than the fact that he didn't. Beliefs are more important to these people than facts or reality. Belief is the only thing that they care about. And they were threatening, they're not exactly threatening violence in there, but they're talking in that video about the weaponization and what happens if they weaponize the government against us. You're breaking the law, you're being criminals, and of course they come after you. The government comes after criminals is what it does. You're being the criminals right now. But because you sincerely believe that you're not, doesn't mean that you're not. In reality, we have two realities. We have two reality spheres happening within the country right now. And I don't know how it pans out. I thought maybe, hopefully, things like this would end once all the boomers got old and died. Uh, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. I thought that I honestly kind of blamed them for it. Belief is the problem. How do we make people stop believing things? I don't know. Facts don't work. Explaining facts to them just doesn't work. Explaining to someone with a sincerely held belief that the belief isn't true or it's wrong or it's bad doesn't work. That just digs them in harder and makes them more angry. Ridicule, perhaps? I don't know. Making fun of people, insulting them, uh, making up funny names for them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how do we make people unbelieve their sincerely held delusions. I don't know. I'm going to look into that in the future. How do we unbelieve people? What do we got here? We got Trump spokesperson undermines own classified documents defense with one complaint. As usual, they complain and they undo their thing. KBP, you start a conspiracy and steer them in the other direction? Maybe. Uh, Fight their stupid belief with their own stupid belief. I don't know. Let's see. Donald Trump spokesperson Alina Habba seemed to forget where her side stands on classified documents. Uh, the former president has previously claimed he magically declassified thousands of government documents. Habba and Trump's court cases are full of sensitive material when talking about the dual indictments. What did she say? Trump was denied wrongdoing, sure. What did Habba say? But Habba slipped up while complaining about special counsel Jack Smith's plan for a speedy prosecution of the former president, who is currently the front runner. Yeah, great. Asked about the timeline for the complicated and overlapping cases, I think that realistically you have to remember that a lot of these cases deal with classified documents, which means that all the lawyers now have to apply for special clearance. uh, the lawyers have to apply for special clearance to see these documents. You can't just take a classified document and review it, says Trump's defense on him taking classified documents. You have to have a skiff. Okay, great. Yeah. His defense says you can't just take classified documents and review it. You have to have a skiff. Did Donald Trump do those things? No, he didn't. So that's that's why we're upset with him, right? It doesn't. They don't even care. They don't even want to make sense anymore. They don't even try to have like a. They don't even try to make sense anymore. Just fling shit everywhere. Fling shit over here. Fling shit over there. Fling shit everywhere. Fling shit over here. Smear shit on yourself. And then when somebody complains about being shitty, you can be like, nah, it's everywhere, man. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Have you seen this piece of shit? Don't look at this piece of shit. Look at this one over here. Let's see. Um, so they don't even try and make sense anymore. Shinsinto, you're right. Insulting them just makes them feel persecuted and run to their echo chambers for comfort. That's how Fox News got invented. That's why uh, once Fox News got a little bit of reality, they all ran to Newsmax and OAN and shit like that. And if those two places started also reporting facts, they would run away from those. Well, let's see. Ooh, let's look at Ron DeStuntman. Ron DeSantis says he's open to drone strikes on Mexican drug cartels. Okay, my man. Mexico's a country. It has civilians. It has citizens. You might not like them. You might think poorly of them, but they are a real country with citizens. And if you start drone striking them, dropping bombs on them, that's an act of war. Probably a bad idea. GOP presidential candidate has also endorsed using deadly force on migrants smuggling drugs into the U.S. Migrants smuggling drugs into the U.S. Okay. Do these guys know that, like, taking drugs is a choice that humans make because they want to? Like, if the market wasn't there for these drugs, they wouldn't have to be smuggled. And they're smuggling the drugs into the country so that Americans can eat them and enjoy them. So, if you made marijuana legal in Texas, there would be a lot less drug smuggling. But let's listen to these Ohio goons talk to Ron DeSantis.
Be willing to use drones, whatever military it takes, to take out those drug cartels in Mexico.
Yes, I've already said that. We will lean in against the drug cartels. We will absolutely reserve the right. If they're invading our country and killing our people, we have the right to defend.
They're invading, and they're killing us. What fantasy? More fantasy.
In this country, we have the right to hold them accountable, and it's not just that they happen to come over our border. And if Mexico's not going to help us with that, well, then we're going to have to do what we have to do.
Did you say you'd use drones on the Mexican drug cartels?
I said I would use whatever force we need to defend the country.
Defend the country.
Tens of thousands of Americans right now. They're trafficking.
Defend the country. They're killing tens of thousands of Americans right now.
People into this country. They're abusing people, sexual abuse. It's really the worst of humanity. I would categorize them as something akin to a foreign terrorist organization. I think that's what they've proven to be. The Mexican government is not doing what they need to do to help with this. But we said from day one on our border announcement we'd be willing to lean in against them, and we reserve the right to defend the country.
So how does... Yeah, you guys are right in chat. The cartels run around shooting people with heroin darts to get them all hooked. No crop dusters on urban areas. You're right. They're flying crop dusters over the border, which is why the wall won't work. Wall needs to be higher so it can catch all the planes, you know. Then they just crop dust fentanyl all over the suburbs, all over the poor, innocent white picket fence people. They are now addicted to fentanyl. They then have to go out and find a Mexican drug dealer to sell them more fentanyl to get their fix. Yes. Dropping business cards. Good call. Man, you're good at this. Shinseto, are you a drug dealer? You can tell me. You can tell me. You can tell me. Are you a drug dealer? You're in on this. You're part of the conspiracy, aren't you? I'm on to you. Okay. I see you. I see you. I got my eyes on you. Okay. In reality, back in, that was Republican land. That was Republican place. Here in reality, where smart people live, the people who are addicted to fentanyl are addicted not because they want to be. They're addicted because they went to a doctor and a capitalist system gave them opioids. Your emoji didn't work? I'm so sorry. There's a whole list of them down there, maybe. Anyway, the people who are addicted to fentanyl went to a capitalist doctor who gave them opioids because it was good for their business. Selling opioids is good business. Doctors need money and need good business, so they gave the people opioids. It made the people feel good because drugs make people feel good. Have you tried them? They're pretty cool. So those people are now addicted to these opioids, but the government cracks down on them, and they crack down on them in a dumb, bad, stupid way because the government doesn't always do things properly. Half of it is filled with reality-denying morons. So they create the Sackler laws, I want to say they were called, which caps the amount of all drugs that you can produce, and that like dorks up insulin production. It dorks up insulin production, but it does limit the amount of opioids that can be made. The doctors find out and realize, hey, yeah, it was a good business for a little while, but it's getting people addicted. They're coming back with drug-seeking behavior. I can't prescribe these things anymore, so they limit that down. They bring that down. They bring that down, and now you're left with a bunch of addicts who are absolutely addicted to these opioid things, and they reach out to underworld drug dealers to get their fix. This isn't a good system. You don't solve that system by bombing Mexico. Mother of God, what are you talking about, Ron DeSantis? Out of your mind. Absolute buffoonery. You don't stop the addicts in America bombing Mexico. That's insane. You solve it by solving the problem of the addicted people here in America. Get them help. Get them treatment for their addiction, man. The addiction isn't going to go away because you threw some bombs across the border, idiot. Good Lord. And then it'll start fights, and then we'll have an. Do you want Afghanistan south of our border? Do you want to move all of Afghanistan down there? Because listen, you start bombing Mexican people, they're going to get pissed off. They don't like that. Nobody likes being bombed by buzzing death robots from the sky. Okay? That will create angry people. Those angry people will then fight against America. And then those people who are fighting against America will possibly die. That will leave their family and their kids and their friends pissed off at America. And then they will start fighting America. You see how this is yes, I'm being slippery slope, but it's a slope that we've gone down a few times. We've gone down this slope a few times in previous wars. So, no, Ron, that is not a good idea. That is a stupid idea, said by a stupid person. Anybody who thinks it's a good idea is also stupid. But they live in a fantasy world where you can just bomb all your problems away. Very grumpy, angry stream today. Glad you guys are here for it, though. All right, so what is next? I think key allegations against Clarence Thomas. So good old Clarence Thomas is again uh, in hot water because he is crooked. Where'd my mouse go? My mouse died. Okay, come here, mouse. There it is. Democrats are pressing the Justice Department to launch an investigation into Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. More investigations. That's all we do anymore. Following reports that he failed to disclose several gifts during his time on the bench. He's been taking bribes and shit since the 90s. Clarence Thomas, criminal. And his wife, Virginia, Ginny Thomas, tried to overthrow the government on Jan 6. This guy takes bribes, does what they tell him, rules in the way that they tell him to, and Ginny Thomas, his wife, tries to overthrow the government. But he gets to be one of the most important legal minds in our country. Justice Thomas's consistent failure to disclose gifts and benefits from industry magnates and wealthy political active executives highlights a blatant disregard for judicial ethics as well as apparent legal violations. But it won't matter because he's on the Republican side. Remember how they view the law? Protect the in group, harm the out group. This guy's on the in group, so the law will protect him. Just a little quick update on that one. So that's all. All right. That's all for the headlines, unless you guys throw some up in chat. Throw some up in chat if you got any things you want me to talk about or read about. And I'm going to start looking at our Republinomicon. The very scary, the very frightening Republinomicon. So if you're watching the stream, please press the buttons, become a follower, type something in chat. As you can see, KBP is gambling all his points. He has an addiction. I am absolutely enabling that addiction by telling him how cool he is for doing so. And if you want to also be as cool as him, or you want to insult him for losing, again, if you want to insult these guys, I mean, if you think you can do better, by all means, do better. Or cheer them on when they try. You can do it. Just one more time, man. You'll get it. I bet you can do it. I believe in you. You did it. You won 100 points. Good job. You're a wiener. So if you want to have as much fun as these guys, jump in a chat, say some things, earn some points. Have a good time. Listen to me ramble and rant. Click on the YouTube videos. Watch those. Become a subscriber on YouTube. Press the button. Ring the bell. Press the thumbs up. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to read the book. Let's go to the book. Set it on the main screen, and there it is. There, put chat up where I can see it. No, what? I said it just fine. Click on the bell, click the thumbs up, and become a subscriber. What's wrong with the way I said it? I know what you're talking about. You're hearing things that aren't there. This is a Freudian slip on your part, I think. Not my part. All right, here we go. So, we continue our reading from the Republinomicon, Section 2, The Common Defense. While the lives of Americans are affected in noteworthy ways, for better or worse, by each part of the executive branch, the inherent importance of national defense and foreign affairs makes the Department of Defense the state first among equals. Okay. What do we got? Anything interesting? I might skip over the boring parts. This whole book might be boring. And I've dedicated the next 9 weeks of my life to reading it. And you, dear viewer, have become dedicated to reading it with me. Unless you leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Ever since our founding, former acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller writes in Chapter 4, Americans have understood that the surest way to avoid war is to be prepared for it in peace. No, not quite. I disagree completely. The best way to avoid war is diplomacy. Yet the Department of Defense is a deeply troubled institution. It has emphasized leftist politics over military readiness. Recruiting is the worst in 2022 that it's been in 2 generations. The Biden administration profoundly unserious equity agenda, and vaccine mandates have taken a serious toll. the atrophy of our defense industrial base, the impact of sequestration, and the effective disarmament of many U.S. allies have exacted a high toll on American military. Moreover, our military has adopted a risk-averse culture. Think of masked soldiers, sailors, and airmen, rather than instilling the rewarding courage in thought and action. Wearing a mask saved soldiers' lives. Get out of here. Get lost. Get the hell out. You Republican monsters. Masks save lives. I have seen no argument to argue the other way around. All they do is complain and cry about how wearing a mask is uncomfortable. It's not rewarding courage. If you wear a mask, you're not rewarding courage. Cry more about the masks. Reward. This isn't avoiding a mask. Isn't courage. It's crybaby bullshit. Saying that we don't want our soldiers to wear viral masks isn't courage. It's stupidity. It's outright death cult bullshit. We refuse to wear the mask because we'd rather be strong and dead than careful and alive. Careful and alive, or appearing strong and dead. The good news is that most enlisted personnel and most officers, especially below the rank of general or admiral, continue to be patriotic defenders of liberty. But this is now Barack Obama's General Officer Corps. That is why Russ Vought argues in Chapter 2 of the National Security Council should rigorously review all general and flag officer promotions to prioritize the core roles and responsibilities of military over social engineering and non-defense related matters. Yeah, you're right, KVP. All officers are below general and admiral. Including climate change, critical race theory, manufactured extremism, and other polarizing policies that weaken our armed forces and discourage our nation's finest men and women from enlisting. Ensuring that many America's best and brightest continue to choose military service is essential. Well, maybe, and I argued this with Thomas a couple of weeks ago, maybe if we weren't forcing them to go into unjust wars, they'd be a little more, America's best and brightest would be willing to show up. If we weren't forcing them to kill insurgents for oil, if we weren't killing innocent people for terrorism, that like we bomb these people and then they fight back, and then those people that die, just like I explained with the Mexico earlier, are angry that we're there and that we're killing their people, and then they fight back against it, and then we have to kill them, and then their family and friends don't want to be part of America and fight back. Like, bombing terrorism is the wrong tactic. You can't bomb your way out of terrorism. If that's what you're fighting against, you can't bomb your way out of it. You can't. But Republicans know no other way. Bomb the things they don't like. Bomb the things they don't like. Bomb the things they don't like. And when that doesn't work, bomb the new things that they don't like. And then that's not going to work either. But then they'll just bomb the new thing that pops up. And then when that doesn't work, they don't know that they're stuck in a loop. By far the most significant danger is China. The communist regime is undertaking a historic military buildup, which could result in a nuclear force that matches or exceeds America's own nuclear arsenal. Right. So we need to bomb them. According to them. We must treat missile defense as top priority. Okay, I agree, kind of. Like, we would like to not be nuked. But couldn't we, like, diplomatically make them reduce the amount of nukes they have? An efficient and effective counterterrorism enterprise across all of our efforts. We must keep in mind that part of peace through strength is knowing when to fight. Okay, well, when to fight is always, according to these people. According to Republicans, when to fight is 100% of the time. Hey, they mentioned diplomacy. An effective diplomatic corps is central to defending our interests and influencing world events. Wait, what? Okay, you're doing it wrong. The reason for diplomacy is so that everybody gets along, not defend our interests and influence world events to our benefit. They don't even comprehend the idea of a diplomat. All conflict, according to Republicans, needs to be bombed, and anybody who's doing diplomacy so that we get the most. Start fights, or make sure that we win the fights, or that if the fights don't start, we come out on top. This is their cutthroat economic uh, positions bleeding into their idea for diplomacy. Diplomacy isn't like so that we all get along and nothing goes wrong. Diplomacy is so that we get the most, we win. Okay? If you have a winning attitude in your diplomats, you're going to start wars. That's it. Man, diplomacy is about peace and coming together and getting along, not winning. If your diplomats are concerned with defending our interests and influencing world events, then they are going to be interested in winning. And then the other country, filled with people who also want to win, are going to try to win. And then you're going to try and win, and they're going to try and win, and we're going to try and win, and then we're going to fight, and we're going to die, and we're going to win. That's not what diplomacy is. These guys have no idea what they're talking about. Large swaths of the State Department workforce are left-wing and predisposed to disagree with a conservative president's policy agenda and vision. A belief that is an independent institution that knows what's best for the United States, sets its own foreign policy, and does not need direction from an elected president. Um, for the reasons I just laid out, yes. If I were a left-wing person working in diplomacy, I would have the views that I just laid out 5 seconds ago. And when a conservative president comes in and tells me, hey, we need to win this diplomatic effort, I would not like that. I'd be like, nah, man, you don't win. You get along. The next administration must take swift and decisive steps to reforge the department and lean into a lean and functional diplomatic machine that serves the president and thereby the American people. Because the Senate has been extraordinarily lax in fulfilling its constitutional obligation to perform presidential appointees, she recommends putting appointees into acting roles until such time as the Senate confirms them. Yeah, that's an administrative state. You hate it when Democrats do that, but you're going to do it yourself. It's fine. We hate the administration. We hate the administrative state. Let's build our own administrative state with blackjack and hookers. Let's see. Skinner writes that the state should also stop skirting the constitutional treaty-making requirements and stop enforcing agreements as treaties. It should encourage more trade with allies, particularly with Great Britain, and less with adversaries. That's how you make friends, man. If you walked into a place and nobody liked you and they all hated you, but you bought everybody around a beer, all of a sudden you've got friends. You see how that works? That's called diplomacy. And it should implement a sovereign Mexico policy, as our neighbor has functionally lost its sovereignty to muscular criminal cartels that effectively run the country. Muscular criminal cartels. Kind of a homoerotic sentence, isn't it? When when Republicans think about criminal cartels, they think about all the sweaty, dark, swarthy men trekking across the desert in their very heavy backpacks, rippling thigh muscles. Yeah, that is a very weird sentence. I don't entirely know what he's going for here. Okay, back to China. When it comes to China, Skinner writes that a policy of complete where we must, okay, compete where we must, but cooperate where we can, has demonstrably failed. Okay, so compete where we must and cooperate where we can is a failure. So what do you think his solution is going to be? Bombing them. The People's Republic of China, aggressive behavior can only be curbed through external pressure. Bombs. Uh, Many were quick to dismiss even the possibility that COVID escaped from a Chinese research laboratory. Okay, again, with this whole lab leak thing, it doesn't matter. Global leaders, including President Joe Biden, have tried to normalize or even laud Chinese behavior. They're just a country. In some cases, these voices, like global corporate giants BlackRock and Disney, or the National Basketball Association, directly benefit from doing business with Beijing. Yes, they have 1 billion people. Disney wants to sell things to them. That's capitalism, baby. They're pointing out a flaw within capitalism. But how, do you know what this hard Republican would say if you shit talk capitalism? They'd call me a communist and want me to die. Again, with the COVID thing, it doesn't matter if it came out of a Chinese laboratory or not. You still have to wear a mask. Absolutely correct, Shinshinto. Lots of examples of 4 and 7 on the fascism list. If COVID escaped from a Chinese lab, you still have to wear a mask. If it escaped from a lab, you still have to get the injections to prevent it. If it escaped from a lab, it still murders people. You still have to do these things. It's still there. It still happened. But some reason, Republicans think if they can prove that it escaped from a lab and Fauci knew about it, all those dead people are going to come back to life and they didn't have to spend 2 years isolating and wearing masks. I don't get it. Former Chief of Staff for the Director of National Intelligence, Dustin Carmack, writes in Chapter 7, the intelligence community is too inclined to look in the rearview mirror, engage in groupthink, and employ an overly cautious approach aimed at personal approval rather than offering the most accurate, unvarnished intelligence for the benefit of the country. What? I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Groupthink. That's what Republicans do all day long, yet they complain about it. Also all day long, which is very weird. And in rear view mirror, that's what I complain about them all the time, looking backward, driving the car backward. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Section 4, the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense is the largest part of our federal government. It has almost 3 million people serving in uniform or a civilian capacity throughout the world and consumes approximately $850 billion. Good God. More than 50% of the government's discretionary spending. I know, right? Should totally be lower. The DoD is also a deeply troubled institution. Historically, the military has been one of America's most trusted institutions, but years of sustained misuse, a two-tiered culture of accountability that shields senior officers and officials while exposing junior officers and soldiers in the field, wasteful spending, wildly shifting security policies, exceedingly poor discipline in a program execution, and, most recently, Biden administration's profoundly unserious equality agenda and vaccine mandates have taken a serious toll. More fantasy, I suppose. I think Biden actually did these things, but they're good things. Unserious equity agenda. That's good. That's a good thing. We like that. America is a melting pot. We need to stir it up a little bit. And vaccine mandates are a good thing for the military. They had a mandate, but they didn't tie anybody down and give them the vaccine. If you didn't want it, they let you leave. They did not strap anyone to a chair and force that into them. If you refused to take it, they wanted you to leave. That's all there is to it. That's the only way that anything can work within a free society. If I refuse to wear pants at work, my job can tell me to leave. Is that a pants mandate? Kinda, yeah. But it makes everybody better. It makes the world a better place. The vaccine mandate that the government put on the soldiers made them better, stronger, and more serious. And it was a good thing. Our disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, that was planned by Trump. Trump put the withdrawal plan into place. And because Biden isn't a raving lunatic and doesn't immediately cancel all the things that the past president said, the way Trump did, he went through with it. Not that he wanted to. I mean, he wants to get out of there, but like he had to follow the plan that was already laid out by the last guy. Trump didn't do any of those things. Trump jumped out of the Paris Climate Accord. Trump canceled the Iran diplomacy. You know, he just canceled single thing that Obama did, and it causes instability within the planet. It causes instability within the world. It's true, Shinseto. I work for a company with big pants agenda. They demand that I wear pants and underwear every day, and it's a mandate, and it is against my freedom. I would love to walk around, strut around with bottomless in my workplace. Okay, sorry. Our disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, our impossibly muddled China strategy, the growing involvement of senior military officers in the political arena, and a deep confusion about the purpose of our military are clear signals of a disturbing decay and markers of a dangerous decline in our nation's capabilities and will. Additionally, more than 100,000 Americans die in a large measure because of illicit narcotic flows. Those 100,000 Americans chose to take those drugs. I would like for them to choose to take better drugs that don't kill you. But my headphones turn themselves off if I don't listen to anything. It's very strange. Um, Republicans hate drug users. Republicans love complaining about the Americans that die from drug use. This is a weird juxtaposition that I'm having a difficult time wrapping my head around. Republicans hate drug users. They hate them. But they're very upset about the 100,000 drug users that die and want to protect them. And their plan for protecting the 100,000 drug users that they hate is to bomb Mexico. Oh my God, I just figured it out. Chemtrails are Mexican cartel drug delivery method. Shit! Man, I think you're onto something there. Oh, oh, that's it. There it is. We got it, boys. We did it, boys. Listen to me very carefully. The chemtrails that you see above your house, the chemtrails, those are from Mexico, and they're dumping fentanyl onto the suburbs. All the people that you've heard about dying from fentanyl overdoses, that's because they got hooked from the chemtrails from Mexico. That's why we can't find those planes, people. We've been looking at American airports for the planes that are doing the chemtrails. I've personally, myself, Alex Jones, have been to airports looking for the chemtrail planes. I have not found them. It's because they're in Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. They're in Mexico. We need a very high wall. We're going to have a very high wall. All right, here we go. What do we got? Ooh, a list of bullet points. Here we go. Priority number 1. Reestablish a culture of command accountability, non-politicization, and warfighting focus. Hey, guess what? Everything is political. Everywhere, all the time, all the things. Non-politicization is impossible. Priority number 2, transform our armed forces for maximum effectiveness in an era of great power competition. What? What? We're already the maximum effectiveness. Like, literally. Largest, most well-trained, uh, uh, pay, the largest, most well-trained, biggest budget military that's ever existed on the planet. And you're going to transform them to be maximum effectiveness? Like, that already happened. We got that one checked off. We'll just put a little check mark right there. You know? Provide necessary support to Department of Homeland Security border protection operations. Border protection is a national security issue that requires sustained attention and effort by all elements of the executive branch. No, it doesn't. The very poor brown people that are crossing the border are not harming you. They are not harming you in any way. They are not harming you. They are not harming the economy. They are not harming our uh, people, generally, mostly. Individually, they can do crimes, but generally, natives of our country do more crime than the people crossing the border. Priority number 4, demand financial transparency and accountability. You can't. There's a reason that the Pentagon has $500 hammers and $2,000 toilet seats. It's because they're lying. They're building things. The people in the Pentagon are creating things that they don't want people to know about. And in the way to hide that money, the finances that are required to build spy satellites, they have to claim to have bought a $500 hammer and a $2,000 toilet seat. I don't love the idea, but military spy stuff needs to be kept secret. I recognize that that's a difficult thing to push for, and I don't love the idea. I wish we didn't have to have spy satellites and secret operations that catch uh, terrorist telephone or cell phone calls out of the air and listen to them, but that requires a lot of money. We can't tell people that that's what we're spending our money on, or else they'll know. You know what I mean? This chapter offers recommendations for improving our armed forces. Okay. More China. Man, these guys really got a hard on for China. Beijing presents a challenge to American interests across the domains of national power, but the military threat that it poses is especially acute and significant. China is undertaking a historic military buildup that includes increasing capability for power projection not only in its own region but also far beyond, as well as a dramatic expansion of its nuclear forces that could result in a nuclear force that matches or exceeds America's own nuclear arsenal. Oh no! If only we had some sort of diplomatic way to make them lower that. They they're just following in our footsteps, to be honest. America did all those things, and it made us powerful. Now they're doing all those things, and it's making them powerful. But we don't like it. How dare you do as we did? How dare you, China, do as we did to become powerful? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Russia. The United States and its allies also face real threats from Russia, as evidenced by Vladimir Putin's brutal war in Ukraine. That the Republicans are back and forth on this Ukraine thing, as well as from Iran, North Korea, and transnational terror at a time when decades of ill-advised military operations in the greater Middle East, the atrophy of our defenses industrial base, the impact of sequestration, and effective disarmament by many U.S. allies have exacted a high toll on American military. He's just complaining. Okay, bullet points. Prioritize a denial defense against China. What does that mean? U.S. defense planning should focus on China, in particular, the effective denial defense of Taiwan. What? Okay, this is about spending money, uh, burden sharing, collaboration, kind of boring, kind of skimming. Here we go. Here's a winner. Implement nuclear modernization and expansion. More nukes, more nukes, more nukes. The United States manifestly needs to modernize, adapt, and expand its nuclear arsenal. More nukes. Russia maintains and is actively brandishing a very large nuclear arsenal, but China is also undertaking a historic nuclear breakout. I think, I, I honestly think that the Russian ones are not as much to worry about. After what we saw them stumble over, they couldn't invade Ukraine. They did, they tried, they failed horribly. We were all told this story of the amazing Russian military, and they're just a bunch of clowns. Now, nuclear missiles are complicated and expensive and very difficult to maintain. It requires a lot of intelligent people doing a lot of very difficult and precise work. I bet they don't do that. I bet that those guys are also clowns who sold off the parts to China and or Afghanistan years ago. I bet that if I don't want to find out, and I don't want to ever be in the position, but I suspect that if Russia actually tried to launch their missiles, most of them would fail. Even if one succeeds, I bet they can knock out more than one, which is just a nightmare situation. I don't want anybody to get nuked, but I bet a lot of them will fail because they are just maintained by clowns. They couldn't keep their tanks gassed up because their soldiers stole and sold the gas. Expand and modernize the U.S. nuclear force so that it has the size, sophistication, and tailoring to deter Russia and China simultaneously. Develop a nuclear arsenal with the size, sophistication, and tailoring, including new capabilities at the theater level to ensure that there is no circumstance in which America is exposed to serious nuclear coercion. More nukes. This is the Republican plan. Right here. This is what they want the next Republican president to do. A lot of times, what I talk about is culture war horseshit nonsense. The Republicans hate a group of people. That group of people is upset. I say, hey, Republicans, why do you hate this group of people? They're just people. Doesn't accomplish anything. They try and pass horseshit laws in Florida about horseshit culture war bullshit. But this isn't culture war. This is actual war. This is literal war. And Republicans want more of it. Republican plan right here in black and white. Plans for the next Republican president are to increase nukes. More nukes. More of them. This is their plan. This is where they will spend your tax dollars. This isn't me pissing and moaning about Ben Shapiro watching the Barbie movie and complaining about it. That's nothing. That's fun diversion. Complaining about somebody complaining about the Barbie movie. That's just online drama nonsense. This is real. This is really what they want. This is really what they will do if they're ever elected again. So don't ever vote for a Republican. Ever. Let's see. Terrorism, bleh. Reform planning program. Budgeting. Nope, we're going to skip budgeting. Industrial base. Oh, okay, yeah. We're gonna build these tanks. We're gonna build these nukes. Replenish and maintain U.S. stockpiles of ammunition and other equipment that have been depleted as a result of U.S. support of Ukraine. Yeah, you're right, Shinseto. They want World War III so they can pull a Palpatine and keep power forever. But I don't think they would. I think what they want is to have World War III and then create tiny little fiefdoms all over the country. 50 states become 50 tiny little countries. We would have 50 little countries, each with their own dictatorial leader, each with their own strongman, each with their own militia, each with their own uh, military, each with their own currency. They want 50 little countries. Um, Balkanization. Balkanization is the fragmentation of a larger region or state into smaller regions or states, which may be hostile or uncooperative with one another. It is usually caused by differences in ethnicity, culture, religion, and some other factor as past grievances. The Republican plan is to balkanize the United States. They want to break us into 50 tiny little countries that they each control themselves. Ron DeSantis will be God, King, Emperor, Ruler of Florida. And he will force all the people that live there to be the same ethnicity, the same culture, the same religion. And if you aren't, you either leave or you get shot in the back. That is what Republicans want for you. That is what they want for the entire country right now. Balkanization. Very fun. This is just more stuff. Purchasing power. What do we got? Needed reforms. I like the bullet points. They usually get to the point. Engage and leverage all of America's scientific, engineering, and high-tech production communities to research, develop, prototype, and rapidly deploy advanced technologies capability of continuing basis to preserve a warfighting advantage. Build more weapons. Let's see. I mean, we already do that. It's not like we don't do that already. If you build a better gun, they're going to buy it, and you're going to be severely rich. You build a better radar or a device that can see through walls, you're going to be rich because the American military will buy it and use it in warfighting. It's already a thing we do. Technology framework, military sales. The United States must regain its role as the arsenal of democracy. Yeah. Weapon sales. Sell more war to the world. Cloak wars are us. You're right. The men and women, woke, included women here even though they don't want to, woke, of America's armed forces are the most critical component of our national defense strategy. But in recent years, they have been overextended, undervalued, and insufficiently resourced. Whose fault is that? It's not the Democrats. Their families help them carry the burden of service, but the assistance they receive is disproportionately less than the sacrifices they make. Young civilians who would thrive in a military environment are disenfranchised when educators and influencers discourage them from learning about military service and preparing for the honor of wearing America's uniform. This is that hero stuff from the fascist list. Everyone's trained to, educated, and taught to be a hero. If the educators and influencers see the military doing bad things and then tell the people who listen to them and they educate that the military is doing bad things, those kids won't want to join the military. Maybe. Stop making them do bad things. Rescue recruiting and retention. Recruiting was at its worst in 2022. That has been 2 generations and is expected to be even worse in 23. Some of the problems are self-inflicted and ongoing. The recruiting problem is not service-specific. It affects the entire joint force. Do they have a... Is this going to tell us we're going to stop doing bad things? We're going to stop murdering innocent brown people? I doubt it's one of their points here. Increase the number of junior ROTC programs in secondary schools. Get them early. Got to indoctrinate them sooner. Yay, child soldiers, yeah. You gotta train them when they're still children, KBP. That's how you get the best soldiers, is to indoctrinate them early. Anyone with HIV or gender dysphoria should be removed, and those with gender dysphoria should be expelled from the military service. Physical fitness requirements should be based on the occupational field without consideration for gender, race, ethnicity, or orientation. See. It's heroic, and everybody should do it. I mean, not the queers, though. No, we don't want them. No. Everybody's a hero, except the weirdos, the ones we don't like. This is madness. All right, more. This is one of the hits on the fascist list too. The otherization, the uh, not giving rights to the people who are different. If you are different, you do not get the same rights, according to this book. So we're going to eliminate the politicization. Okay. Eliminate politicization, reestablish trust and accountability, and restore faith in the force. In 21, Reagan National Defense Survey found that only 45% of Americans have a great deal of trust and confidence in the military. Strengthen protections for chaplains to carry out their ministry according to their tenets of their faith. Good God, more religion. Go carry the Bible and make the young soldiers believe in the faith. Proselytize to them. Make sure they know they're carrying out a God's will when they invade those helpless countries. Codify language to instruct senior military officers to make certain that they understand their primary duty to be ensuring the readiness of armed forces, not pursuing a social engineering agenda. This direction should be reinforced during the Senate confirmation process. Orders and directions motivated by purely partisan motives should be identified as threats to readiness. Don't let gay people in. Don't promote black people. Reinstate service members to active duty who were discharged for not receiving the COVID vaccine. Restore their appropriate rank and provide back pay. Fuck you. Those are the people you want to get rid of. Those are the people you want out of the military if you want it to work properly. Sorry, that's all there is to it. The people who refused the COVID vaccine, the safe, effective COVID vaccine, because they had a sincerely held delusion that it was filled with alien DNA or demon sperm, should not be a part of the military. They shouldn't be there. I know Thomas yelled at me about this, but I don't want them there. I don't want anybody who would quit the military over the COVID vaccine anywhere near anything important. I wouldn't want them in my house. I wouldn't want to hang out with them. I wouldn't want to work next to them because they're a lunatic. Eliminate Marxist. Let's try that again. Eliminate Marxist indoctrination and divisive critical race theory programs and abolish newly established diversity, equity, and inclusion officers and staff. Don't be diverse. Don't do DEI. They hate DEI. They just blame it for everything, that any issue they have. Restrict the use of social media solely for the purposes of recruitment and discipline any armed service personnel who uses an official command channel to engage with civilian critics on social media. Okay, I can see that one. I might be okay with that. Audit the course offerings at military academies to remove Marxist indoctrination. Eliminate tenure for academic professionals and apply the same rules to instructors that are applied to other DoD contracting personnel. Are they really teaching Marxism at West Point? I don't think they are. I severely doubt it. It's one of those fantasy parts of the book again. Gender dysphoria is incompatible with the demands of military service. and the use of public monies for gender transition surgeries or to facilitate abortion for service members should be ended. Absolutely insane. Especially the abortion part. You like how they snuck that one in there? That abortion part? I mean, you've got a soldier who is pregnant. You can either take them out of their job for like 9 months or maybe more, and or you can give them abortion. They're down for like a week. The week sounds like more for readiness, and if that's the thing they chose, this isn't entirely fantasy. Well, it's like I said before. This isn't all fantasy. Some of it. It's more like a historical revisionary. It's part fantasy. It's the best kind of fantasy. Mixes in things that are real. So, I mean, Harry Potter lived in London, right? London exists. Harry Potter doesn't. Spider-Man. Where does Spider-Man live? We all know he's from New York. New York exists. Spider-Man doesn't. Spider-Man was witness to 9/11. 9/11 happened, but Spider-Man wasn't actually there. So, good fantasy mixes in all the things from our world as well. Value the military family. Military service requires extreme sacrifices by families. Support legislation to increase wages and family allowances for active and enlisted duty personnel. No uniformed personnel should ever have to rely on social benefits such as food stamps and public housing assistance. Are you going to raise taxes to pay for that? Because I'm for it. But I would also raise the taxes on rich people to pay for it. I have a funny feeling these Republicans are just going to borrow the money, probably from China, because that's how their brains work, to pay for it instead of, and then cut rich people's taxes so that we'll be even further in debt and blame Joe Biden somehow. Improve base housing and consider the military family holistically when considering change of station moves. Um, that's spending more money, and I'm on board for it. But where are Republicans going to get that money? I know where the Democrats are going to get that money. They're going to tax and then spend. Good. Great. That's a system. That's an economy. You know what I mean? Improve spouse employment opportunities and protections, including licensing reform and expanded child care. It's going to cost money. I'm on board for it, though. Audit all curricula and health policies in DoD schools for military families, including all inappropriate materials and reverse inappropriate policies. Support legislation giving education savings accounts options to military families. So I want, oops, damn it. Did I? Damn it, damn it, damn it. I clicked a button and now I'm all goofed. Somehow, ah, man, what a failure. Live stream fails. I don't know what combination of clicking and moving my mouse caused me to jump to a completely different page, but it did somehow. I was on military families and I wanted to talk about something interesting with all of these things, but some combination of button presses. Can you guys hear the motorcycle out there? Yeah, F's in chat for fun we're having. F's in chat for all the fun. That's what the F means, right? Fun. So, you cannot hear the motorcycle. Okay, good. I'm glad it's out there revving its engine. They do it all the time. I have a lot of motorcycles in my little neighborhood, and they're just so annoying. I don't get it. I don't want people to hear me driving a very large piece of equipment down the street. Like, I would be I would be freaked out by the thought that everyone was staring at me. Um, ironically, as I talk into a camera. Uh, let's see. Okay, so I want to point this out real quick. increase the wages for the family, increase their housing that we assign to them. You're part of our military. We like you. We love you. Here's a house. We're going to give it to you. It's yours to live in for a while, as long as you're following all the rules. Um, helping them get employment, teaching them, giving them free education, uh, and giving them money and stuff like that. This is socialism. It is. You have earned these benefits from helping your country, and the country, the government, is going to give you stuff. It's socialism. Republicans love socialism. They do. But only for the people they want to be a part of that socialist family. Only for the military that they like. Only for the people they think deserve it. Which is worse. I want everybody to have this kind of thing. I want every American to have increased wages and family allowances. I want every single American to have better housing opportunities. I want all of America, even all of the spouses, to have employment opportunities and protections. I want all Americans to have a good education. But I'm a socialist when I suggest it. I'm a bad guy and a nightmare monster when I suggest doing that for everybody. But Republicans suggest doing it only for the people that we like, only the military. They don't even know they're doing it. They don't even recognize what it is. All right, I read ahead a little bit in my misclicking somehow. So we'll go another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it for the day. Intelligence, bleh. Expand the integration of intelligence activities, bleh. Restore accountability and public trust. Here we go. That one might be fun. In recent years, public trust in defense intelligence has been eroded by, for example, flawed assumptions leading up to our Afghanistan withdrawal. Donald Trump planned the Afghanistan withdrawal. Fuck this guy, fuck this author. Donald Trump planned it. He put it together. It was his idea. And he brags about how he got us out. Flawed Russia-Ukraine assessments, divergences in relations with key Gulf allies, and voids being filled by Russia and China around the world. For trust to be restored and sustained, officials must be held accountable. Ugh. It's just, hey, put a Republican in there and we'll guess better. You won't, actually. More stuff. Okay. For the Army specifically. So, specific Army reforms. Let's see. Rebuild the Army. The total Army budget has decreased by roughly 11% since 2018. Good. Perilously affecting the service's readiness and ability to train and procure new personnel and equipment. Declining budgets and decreased buying power have forced the Army to lower training standards and opportunities to train. Propose reductions in an end strength / military construction programs to historically low levels and scale back is essential modernization programs. What are their plans? Increase the Army budget. Accelerate the development and procurement of 6 current Army modernization priorities. More weapons. More money. More money, more weapons. Immediately increase the production and stockpiling of critical munitions and repair parts. More money, more weapons. Transform Army culture and training. The Army can no longer serve the nation's social testing ground. What? A rebuilt Army that is focused again on its core warfighting mission and empowered it with tools, resources, and authority it needs to accomplish the mission that must be next administration's highest defense priority. Stop using the Army as a testbed for social evolution. I can't even read anymore. Sorry. Stop using the Army as a testbed for social evolution. Nobody's ever done that? I don't think anybody's ever done that. This is more fiction. More Republican fanfics. Address the underlying causal issues driving increasing Army suicide rates, which have surpassed pre-World War II rates and are now eclipsing the rate among civilians. Because you're making them do bad things. They don't feel good when you make them do bad things. You have trained them to be heroes, and then you make them do bad things in bad parts of the world. They don't like that. U.S. Navy, invest in and expand force structure. So more money, build a fleet of 355 ships, develop and field unmanned systems to augment the manned forces. So more money. Yeah, spend more money, build more bombs. The Republican way, baby. Kind of scoop through the rest of this because I think it's all going to be the same. Increase spending and budget accuracy in line with the threat-based strategy. Increase F-35 procurement from 60 to 80 per year. Build more bombs, spend more money. Marine Corps, they probably jerked themselves off to this one. Divest systems to implement the Force Design 2030 transformation. Divesting equipment that is less relevant to distributed low signature operations in a contested maritime environment will make funds available for modernization. I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. Eliminate all USMC law enforcement battalions. What the fuck does that mean? Are they law enforcing within the military? Because that has to happen. Sure would like for less law enforcement to happen within the military. Spend more money, build more bombs. Space Force. Those guys even, didn't they get canceled? I thought we canceled the Space Force. Reverse the Biden administration defensive posture. The Biden administration has eliminated almost all offensive deterrence capabilities and instead will rely solely on defensive capabilities of disaggregation, maneuver, and reconstruction, the most costly and slowest and ultimately most fragile architecture section. This book wants more space bombs. More space bombs. We can't just disaggregate, outmaneuver, and reconstitute things up in space. We need to be building space bombs. And Biden's not building space bombs. Why isn't Biden building any more space bombs? Let's see. Spend more money, build more bombs. Cyber Command. Spend more money, build more bombs. Special Operations Forces. Spend more money, build more bombs. Okay, so China's Belt and Road Initiative. This is actually a thing that I want to kind of read about. What is China's Belt and Road Initiative? It is China going into a poor place like Africa, into many of the African countries, and building things for them. Then they take their natural resources to use on the market. and build things in China that they then sell to America. That's the layman's term for China's Belt and Road Initiative. China builds roads and manufacturing things in African countries. The African countries have jobs and work there, and then they extract the valuables that are in the ground. Those go to China. China turns them into phones and usually garbage that we don't actually need, and then they sell them in Walmart. We give the China money. China gets the stuff. It's an economy, kind of. That's Belt and Road. I wonder what they think of it. Uh, Allies and partner nations must work proactively to counter China's BRI around the globe. So stop that. We don't like that, according to this book. It's literally what America did to become powerful. We built things in poorer countries. We took their oil, we took their minerals, we turned them into products, and then we sold them to the world. It's what we did. Nuclear deterrence. No, we already know what the answer for them is. Spend more money, build more bombs. Missile defense, build more bombs, spend more money. All right. That seems like the end of this section, which is good. Here's all the credits. Ooh, this is going to suck next week and be filled with insanity. So next week we will discuss the Department of Homeland Security. Probably a lot of customs and border stuff coming next week. So look forward to that. What page are we on? We're on page 165. 920. So I don't know how long we'll do this, but I'm turning it into things. This is my public service. It doesn't get any views, and nobody wants to hear it, but it is my public service to read through the Conservanomicon or the Republicanomicon, find out what they actually think, what they're actually doing, what they're actually suggesting, and what the next Republican will do. Maybe this will prevent people from voting for them someday, somehow, maybe. Or if they actually do get voted back into office, we can look at this thing, we can look at these videos, we can look at this book, and comprehend what they're going to suggest, what they're actually going to do. They're going to say nothing about this in the news. They're just going to cry about gay people and scream about trans people and flail about Hunter Biden and his very large, very girthy penis. But in the back, in the rooms where the actual work is done, this is the work they are going to be doing. So that's why I think it's interesting and important to read through and pay attention to. So I appreciate anybody that is watching. If you are watching, feel free to shoot any links into chat that you have. I will read over the new stuff. And is that Tanuki Mario on your shirt? Yes, correct. It is Tanuki Mario on my shirt. It's a very cool shirt that I like. So yeah, if you are watching, please shoot links or questions like that question. You just saw a question and then it got answered. See how fun that was? We're having a great time. Follow the YouTube. Jump into chat, play slots if you so like to. Click on the YouTube link, watch the YouTube vids, give me thumbs up, give me likes, all that fun stuff. Chat and talk about how cool KBP is for winning. Such a cool guy for winning at slots. Yeah, again, I'm not smart enough to rig it. So, oh, he got 3 strawberries on that one. Big winner. KBP. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for paying attention. I'm glad you found your way here. My name is Waldo, and thanks for feeling the news with me today. Goodbye. I'll probably be back on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Monday, we'll do a video game stream.